I'm Jim Park, and this is today's Trucking's Ultimate Test Drive. We're in Nanaimo, British Columbia, with an axle-forward model Mack Pinnacle, powered by a 13-liter MP8 505 Maxi Cruise C+ engine that produces up to 1,860 pound-feet of torque in every gear. A bit behind that is an M-Drive automated manual transmission, and way out back sits 90,000 pounds of lumber on a 5-axle Super B train. Gross combination weight, 138,000 pounds. Back in 1957, Mack's standard engine was a Thermodyne 673. It was an inline 6-cylinder diesel producing 170 horsepower at 2,100 RPM and 480 pound-feet of torque at 1,400 RPM. 60 years later, Mack's standard engine is the 13-liter MP8. It has more than tripled the power output of the old Thermodyne while delivering about twice the fuel economy and about 1/500th of the emissions produced by those early engines. This is the Mack MP8 505C+. 505 horsepower from about 1,500 to 1,800 RPM. And we've got 1,860 pound-feet from 1,100 RPM all the way up to about 1,350. So there's a ton of torque down there at that low RPM. So that's where you want to be able to keep your engine revs when you're pulling on a hill or driving through traffic. It's not horsepower that gets you up the hill, it's torque. And because it's down at that low RPM, it actually costs you a lot less money to use torque than horsepower. Dragging this 90,000-pound load of lumber around Vancouver Island gave us a chance to see not only how all that torque keeps you moving at low RPM, but how the M-Drive transmission worked to squeeze every last bit of torque out of that 13-liter engine before giving up a gear on a hill. I'm surprised to see this 13-liter engine, even with its 1,860 pound-feet of torque, letting us go down as far as 1,100 on a hill with 140,000 gross vehicle weight. That's pretty courageous.
You know, we always talk about displacement, you know, and it's like bigger is better. And I can tell you right now, Jim, 505 horsepower out of a 13-liter is exactly the same as 505 horsepower out of a 16-liter. Same for the torque. Torque is torque. It's like years ago, we used to think bigger was better. You know, we used to have big engines. I bet you 99% of the people that are watching this, if you look back 5 years, I guarantee you the vehicle that you're driving today has a smaller displacement engine than it had in it 5 years ago, certainly more than 10 years ago, and I can bet you it gets better fuel economy and it's going to last longer.
As Dave says, horsepower is horsepower and torque is torque, no matter what size engine it comes from. But there's still a feeling in the industry that a 13-liter engine is somehow not big enough for large loads like these. By big enough, the naysayers usually mean durable enough. Displacement refers only to the volume of the cylinders, not to the structure of the block. Mack says there's nothing insubstantial about the crankshaft and the main bearing supports in the MP8. Besides, the computerized power management controls in place today make it nearly impossible to abuse an engine. On top of that, the electronics do what any really good driver will do, and that's modulate power demand, not roll it on and off on a fixed schedule. The M-Drive senses grades and weight and calculates the power and shift strategies needed in a given situation. It also takes cues from the driver via the throttle position sensor and cleverly takes the driver's needs into consideration too. The thing about the M-Drive is it will take the RPM higher even in econo mode if you've got your foot right on the throttle. So it senses the driver's input and how much throttle it needs and how much it wants. Going over that little hump there, I did get up to about 60 power. You don't get it. Simple as that. Mack's new high-output MP8 505C+ Maxi Cruise has the brains and the brawn to handle the big loads, and they don't get much heavier than this even in Canada. But there's more to it. Check out part 2 of the series where I compare the way the engine works in the optional performance and economy modes. For today's Trucking's Ultimate Test Drive, I'm Jim Park, enjoying a leisurely drive around Vancouver Island with my 90,000-pound load of lumber. Drive safe and keep your revs down.